Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Natsu Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Clevatess Season 1, Episode 3. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, I want to talk about something I meant to talk about last episode. I really like the ending song. There's this hauntiness to it, and I don't know how to phrase it, but it's very somber and just well, first and foremost, it's Ellie Goulding, which I didn't notice that until I was watching the credits again. I was like, does that say Ellie Goulding? And the song's called Destiny. It's a new song by her. I think I was reading on Google, it said the full song doesn't come out till September, but obviously the snippet exists for this anime. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Just because I don't know if it's how much of a trend this is, but I thought it was interesting because more often than not, all openings and endings, I associate them being Japanese artists. But the only other exception I can think of that breaks that mold is Kaiju number 8. And I don't know the reasons for that, but the first season of Kaiju number 8, the first opening is done by is a song by Youngblood, and this for season 2, which is currently airing, the opening is a song by Aurora, and then the ending for both season 1 and season 2 are songs by One Republic. So see what I mean? I thought that was just such an interesting thing. So to find out Ellie Goulding's song is being used for the intro, it's a very good song. It sounds very beautiful. Like they say, there's a somber hauntiness to it. So I wanted to kind of comment on that really quickly because I meant to bring that up last episode. But anyway, getting into the episode itself, we're picking up where things left off with Alicia, and she immediately her eye rolls back into place. So I was like, okay, so the healing factor's pretty quickly, but then she's like, wait, I can't move anything below my neck. So I was like, oh, is it going to take a while to reconstitute yourself? It turns out it's in the blood, and I think Clint made that clear previously. Basically, what was it? Was it Ichor or something like that? The thing that he put in her blood to basically bring her back to life. If she bleeds too much, she will die. So I was like, that's interesting. So it's not like a free-for-all immortality. If she gets bled to death, she will die. But for him, it's as long as I need you, I will always pour the blood back into you. Because the blood manifests itself as kind of this smaller, puppy version of what he really looks like. And it's the reason why it's manifesting itself like that is because that's just the amount of because there's not a lot. I guess it makes you wonder how much of that energy is actually needed to bring back a human. So I guess not a lot, because that's not even close to what his transformed scale really looks like. So for him to be this almost chibi version of himself when it came to her blood. So I thought, once again, it's kind of interesting. It makes it so that it isn't just a free-for-all immortality. Now, if she's bleeding a little bit, that's fine. She can, bounce back from that and probably, recover the wounds after some time pretty quickly. But if, you bleed too much, you will go back to being a corpse again and perma-die, unless he, once again, puts the blood back in you. And so while they're having, while he's explaining all this, he has a conversation with her. He wants to understand why Nail turned him down. And it's well, these guys aren't just going to let her go. It's they will track her down. They're not just going to let slaves go. Any slaves that get away, they'll track them down and murder them. So she's afraid of, if anywhere she goes, there is no actual escape because they'll just find her and kill her. And so Clint is okay, so all I have to do to rectify that, because I found a good, wet nurse, and I'm going to bring her with us. So all I got to do is make sure I kill all the bandits. And she's like, well, that'd be an easy thing for you. He's like, no, I don't want, first and foremost, I don't need anyone to know that I'm not at the Luna Mountains anymore, because that's going to draw too much attention, because people are going to be like, hey, there's not a dark beast here anymore. Let's impose upon his territory, which is what set him out on this path to wipe out Hidan in the first place. But he's like, also, I don't want people asking me questions about, well, why am I here? So keeping it low key. So she's going to be his avatar. It's you're the one that's going to get stuff done. He's always going to orchestrate from behind the scenes. There'll probably be instances where he'll probably have to kick into place, but she'll be kind of his avenging angel in a way, fulfilling her role somewhat as a hero, even though she's kind of doing it for the villain who wiped out a kingdom and also murdered all the other warriors you were fighting beside, also murdering you and resurrecting you the way he did. If you're familiar with Noblesse, the main protagonist, Rai, is kind of like that. He's kind of like the secret weapon of, it's it's usually a last second situation where he gets involved, because that's usually where he kind of goes full. Even though I'm not seeing the series, he goes full Saitama, where like, yo, he's the one that finishes things because he's just that overpowered. I guess you could also look at it as like Mob for the most part. Well, for some of the part, because obviously like some battles, Mob Psycho, Shigeo, aka Mob from Mob Psycho 100, struggles with certain fights and stuff like that. I'm going on my tangent, but my point is like that's probably going to be the role that Clevatess or Clint plays going forward. It's mainly going to probably be Alicia or maybe any other characters that join this crazy party that will probably be on the forefront of the battle, and he'll kind of only step in when absolutely necessary, when they're cornered. But either way, we'll discuss that maybe more later. But Alicia gets brought back, immediately goes on a killing spree. I mean, obviously, like, every bone in her body was broken, and just because she can't die, she feels everything. So like her bones are like breaking and snapping back into place, and it's just she feeling every bit of that. So it's like, and even her being like, I don't know who I feel sorry for more, them or me. And then the guy attacks her, and she grabs him and grabs the sword and kills him. And she's like, it's actually me. I don't even know why I even for a second felt bad for them, because like, well, they suck and they're pieces of shit, so why like strain yourself worried about it? So I feel bad for me because I'm going to be this way. Like if I break, he's always going to put me back together. So there's not going to be any death for me. But I have my reasons for wanting to keep going, just for the dream she has, and probably a little bit. Well, that might also tie into like her revenge for what happened to her father. But you know, we don't have the answers to that. The intro seems to give us an answer to that, but we just don't know the answer of why. But either way, she pretty much fights off everyone. But the problem is, even as strong as she is and as skilled as she is, she even says like she can come back over and over again because of her blood. But the problem is she's essentially immortal, and that means these creepy, disgusting pieces of shit that they are will do horrible things to her. And she's like, I don't even want to imagine what they'll do if they know that I won't die, like what horrendous stuff they'll get up to. But it's like, because of the blood, it also takes more out of her. Like it drains her stamina more, so she can't keep going forever. There's too many of them. She puts in the work, kills quite a few, but the sword she's using isn't good enough, so she has to get the sword that's in the lake. And so she draws them all nearby where those creatures are, cuts the scaffolding, they all fall in. Well, most of them fall in, get gobbled up. She's waiting nearby, like in a barrel, sinking to the bottom, because she's like, I expelled all the air in my lungs. It's going to hurt like crazy, but I'm not going to suffocate and die. I just got to deal with the pain and see this through, you know? So, and they can't really chase after her because that would mean going down there, and they're not stupid. So they want to live too. So, and they just literally watch the water get turned bright red from all the people being gobbled up. So she's planning on getting the sword at the very bottom, but as we can see, like, the mama or papa of these things is there at the bottom. Probably more likely going to be the mama of the things are waiting at the bottom. So God knows how massive that thing is. I mean, they even said it themselves that no one's been able to like survive in there after like, because I guess they've been around that long, like 300 years or whatever. So no one's been able to go in that water and come out alive. I'm sure she will be the first. So other than that, with this new knowledge, Clint decides like, oh, he's going to go find Nell, which she's in a happy mood because I think for her, she's not used to anyone being nice to her and offering her something like that freedom. It's just like, even him offering her that was nice because, you know, that's not even something that she'd ever really even considered. And no one else has ever offered her that because they can't. Like, the moment Krim hears that, she snaps at her because for her, it's like, we're women. We're supposed to stick together. The moment they hear that you're no longer useful, they will kill you, you know? I mean, once again, her main purpose is she can take care of children because she's the only woman that produces breast milk. And so, and it's understandable because Krim, it's like, oh, what you're up here smiling and want to leave, and if you did leave, that me almost like, why would you deserve to leave and I don't? It's like, well, because even Krim brought up like her and a lot of the other women were come from situations that brought them here, whether it's something bad that they did, they kind of ran away and kind of got caught up here, or maybe their homes were destroyed and they were enslaved, whereas Nell was born here. Like, this is all the life she's ever really known. And it's kind of sad that the one person that's on your side is kind of smacking you around and telling you to be quiet. I mean, understandably so, because the boss is nearby and he overhears everything, and that's kind of where things kind of... And you could tell she knew what was waiting for Nell, because she's like, no, don't, master, but he won't listen, because it's like, yeah, you want to leave, you're a traitor, you need to be dealt with. Even though she serves the purpose of being able to produce breast milk, it's like, well, then we'll find someone else who can, we'll impregnate someone and we can start this all over again. Like, you're replaceable. So now, but and that's more so where Krim's coming from, because she kind of feels bad that someone's dead. Because once again, like, we all serve our functions and we're all together and we're kind of all in this together. And when one of us dies like that, it compromises the rest of us in a way. So, but she also doesn't want anyone to die, But it's just, because Nell didn't know how much of an issue it would be for her to say what she said. So the boss takes her to a location where he's basically been experimenting. And he brings her there and he's like, oh, and feeds her to Betty. Because he's like, yeah, I've been researching stuff and experimenting on stuff. And it's like, Betty only listens to me. And Nell sadly's thinking to herself, she's like, if only I'd taken his hand then, but like I turned it away. And at that moment, she sees Clem with Luna, and just in that moment she gets gobbled up. Because the thing is, you see like her arm is still sticking out, reaching out when she gets gobbled. I was like, well, she might still be alive, and she is ultimately when she gets spit up. But the beast, well, Clem's got the perspective of, it's kind of like the circle of life. Beasts must eat and they feed, and so it's not too bad. It's like, it's no one's fault, kind of, not even like, not Nell's, or it is kind of Nell's, but it's also like, yeah, just the circle of things. But for him, it's like, but it's not the way of things for a beast to be listening to a human like this. And this thing can kind of sense something from Clem, and it's like, it's shaking in its boots, and it gets so scared it throws her up. I thought Clem made it do it. It's like, no, the thing was so scared it threw Nell up on its own. But the problem is, like, I think she's missing an arm. She's definitely missing a leg. And I was like, I'm curious, is he going to, because she's still alive, so I was like, is he going to do for her what he did for Alicia? I'm like, is that what's going to happen with any other characters that join his side, or what? Because it's like, he needs her because of the breast milk angle, so. But he sends her away and has Luna there. He's like, you as a baby need to stay by her side because she needs that peace in her last moments. And it's kind of interesting that I guess, yeah, you might be a dark beast, but you yourself probably knows what it means to be there for something in its final moments. So maybe you've been there for something's final moments, or seen other people or other entities be there for something in its final moments. So he sends them away, and then we learn from the boss. His name is like Rox. It's like VRO something. It's something like that, and we find out that he's been experimenting with, like, the reason why he's able to control Betty is because he mixes some of the materials. Was it arcanite? Is it arcanite, or the material that's made for weapons? He basically grounds it up, mixes it with like the larva of a certain specific fly, because this bug the larva basically wipes away, like, I guess you could almost say it almost works like the fungi from The Last of Us, kind of brain controlling, and it allows him to control. And he calls it magic. That like arcanite, like he's learned like, oh, it can be applied in many different ways, and he's creating what is kind of magic in this world, and it's still in its infancy. It's interesting because, oh God, he called it something else too. Maybe it was just magic. I swear there was something else he called it. I can't remember off the top of my head. Me, personally, I immediately was like, technology. That's what it was. I couldn't remember. That basically he's like, it's like a form of technology. It's kind of what he's calling it, which I kind of see. It kind of reminds me of alchemy, which I guess you can make the argument alchemy in borderlines in that space in between magic and technology to some extent. You mix stuff together to kind of create a pseudo magic. So what he's doing is kind of alchemy. But what's interesting though is, because he's in the body that he's in, like, he's not completely without his powers, but in the state that he's in, he is fragile like a human. So getting hit by Betty, he feels it. And also, like, the concoction he made is even having some effect on him too. I mean, because he's probably like the Lord of Dark Beasts like he is, it probably won't operate the same way on him like it does Betty. But it also could be like because he's in that humanoid form, it probably wouldn't work anyway. Like, I don't know how much of a resistance he really had, but it was like, it seemed like it was getting to him. Not necessarily controlling him, but the smell and like inhaling it seemed to have some effect on him. But also he's pissed at Alicia for not warning him about magic, because he already was annoyed that humans had the arcanicide or arcana, right? Whatever that material is, which was already a nuisance. And now it's like they're able to apply it in this regard. And it's like, well, Alicia had no idea, because the going perspective on it is to forge it into weapons, and even the Hideons are the only ones who know how to forge it into weapons. But now there are people who know how to apply it and use it as quote-unquote magic. He kind of seems like he's like the forefront of that, but I'm sure there are other people too. So that's something else Clint's going to have to be weary about in the future. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where both sides of things go next episode, both with Alicia trying to retrieve the sword and how that plays out, as well as Clint's confrontation with this guy and Betty. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.